Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate the opportunity to meet right now with Ned Gregg, who was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Ohio Auctioneers Association, January 2011. My name is Jerry Stichter, and on behalf of the association, I appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with Ned Gregg. Ned, welcome.
Glad to know you.
Yeah, we've met at these conventions over a period of years, and you know, it's a great organization in my estimation, and I bet he has some views on it right now after about the last 2 hours.
Yes, I do. I really do. There's an awful lot of nice people you meet in there. It's a family affair, the Ohio Auctioneers Association. You find them all, and I think you find it in the auction profession. It winds up with family, and of course that's exactly what has happened to me.
You know, his award sets here behind us, and you know, and those are nice to have. And I was at that event, and there was a lady that walked up there on stage. Is part of that part?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I went to Sycamore High School, of course, and graduated, and went to auction school immediately after that. And I was in the class of 1950 at the Redbird School of Auctioneering. Had a little stint in the Army, came home and met the lady that you saw on the stage, and we made a home and a family together, and she's been a great lady, and she's never worked any place but right by my side, and that's an awful nice thing to say. Raised the children, good mother.
Speaks well of the family and well of the business.
Right.
Yes, that's great.
Right.
And you didn't know about this.
I didn't. I really didn't. I was a little dubious when I saw my little grandson there with a tie on. I thought, now that's a little unusual for him to be wearing a tie. But he's around here all the time, and we spend a lot of time together. His mother went to dental hygienist school, and so he was just with us when she was in college. He was writing an auction with us, you know. And it's the same thing with all the grandchildren, about all of them. Two other boys, one of them who was with us, Jeremy, and does a fine job, and he spent most of his lifetime following the auctions and being with us, and so they just kind of did it. It was when I went to auction school, and the reason that I went, I really didn't have to tell you the truth. I didn't really have the auction business in mind. My dad wanted me to go to Heidelberg College, which is at Tiffin, Ohio, and I don't think they thought I could make the grade, so they passed it on down, and Dad said, why don't you go to auction school? So I borrowed $300 from the bank, and I went to auction school, and 17 years old, you don't really know. I don't think they were going. It's different maybe with me than some, because I never really planned on being an auctioneer. I've heard a lot of people say I've had that on my mind all my life, and that's not true with me. I've had people say to me that someone said I used to practice back at the barn, and that's not true either. I didn't do that. It just kind of hit me. But I think the good part about my life, and the sense was, my mother was a great lady, and she was deaf all of her life, and if we wanted her to understand or see us, we spoke loud. So from the first grade on, it was a case, go get Ned, he'll give the speech for you. And that was exactly what happened. And I did it through high school. I was president of my class, and I was president of a gold medal parliamentary procedure team that did awfully well in the state of Ohio in 1950. We just about won it all, but it was a lot of it because of the fact that I was kind of fortunate accidentally with my mother, and being able to speak, and in a small community, and it just worked out well, and it all fit with what I'm doing. I don't know, God works in strange ways, but he gets her done very well.
So you kind of born, raised, and stayed in the same area of Sycamore?
Lived there all my life, and all my family lived there. My great-granddad was in the Civil War, and he was a charter member of the Masonic Lodge in Sycamore. He was a great Methodist, and everybody went to the Plankton Church. I think that just goes back. I can't go back any further. My great-great-granddad named John. My name is Ned F., and his was John F. We never had middle names. We had middle initials. Mm-hmm. And I got his. But that's kind of the way it was, Gary.
The changes in the auction business in Sycamore, Ohio. Right. What county are you located in?
We're in Wyandotte County. Seneca County has been awfully good to me. Crawford County has been very good to me. We work in Marion County some. But I think Seneca County is probably the principal county, but they do a lot of work in, and probably because I was fortunate again to have a couple of very, very good attorneys who who evidently liked what we did and liked how it was done and hired us a lot. And I think they played a big role in my success. You know, they called me a lot. I did a lot for them. And
It's a lot of that. Not only auctioneers are bid callers. That's what we relate to. And today we hear auctioneers are electronic sellers as well. That's been a change. But more than bid calling, what are some of the other aspects of this auction business that makes for success? It's not just standing in front of people and seeing how fast you can call numbers.
oh, I don't think so. I think you'd have to try to learn. I don't think there's any question that education's an important thing. I've been fortunate enough to live with people who kind of taught me as I went along. My granddad was a real estate broker, and my dad was a real estate broker. Lived on the farm, and you'd watch things happen. And I think one of the great things was, and I think it's as true today as it was then, and I don't care if electronics is it, there was a awful good school in Repparts with a man that taught me out there, Guy Pettit. And I remember Guy Pettit as being a great, great guy. And I remember one day he told me about put good things in your mind and fill it full of good things. And then I remember he introduced a class, and there was a boy by the name of Joe Guzzi was in it, and I was in the class, and he went down through the line, and when he went down through the line of people, he said, now you come back tomorrow and I'll tell you who you were. I said to Joe Guzzi, he can't do that, there's 62 of us. So I said, you take my seat and I'll take yours, Joe. And when he hit me, he stopped for a second. He said, if Greg and Guzzi will switch seats, they'll be in the seats they were yesterday. And I never forgot that. And one of the things that he said, and I think fits today, was 3 words will get you through life, and you need to use them very well. And I remember him saying, observe, compare, and remember. So make an observation of what you're going to see, and maybe it's farmland, maybe it's a cow, maybe it's a pig, maybe it's an automobile, maybe it's something that you saw, a good field of corn or whatever. Compare it and remember what it sold for. And when you put all them together, you'll be right back with a pretty fair analysis of what's going on today, and you'll have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get for what you're going to sell.
You mentioned multiple times education, and we're at the OAA convention. Sitting in on seminars.
Yep.
We use the word convention, but it is an educational meeting.
Yes.
How has the OAA impacted, your business?
Well, I think the OAA has helped me an awful lot in the last, say, 20, 25 years. I think I think that you come in here and you may not know something that someone said there, but you might be sitting beside a guy that will relate something to you. And the relation that he'll put to you, if you put it together and use those 3 words I mentioned a little bit ago, in his way, you'll probably go home with something that'll help you tomorrow, and you run into it and you'd have no idea it's out in front of you. But it'll be there. And I guarantee you better be able to answer it some direction with someone. And I think that's what the Ohio Auctioneers Association has done a very good job of trying to get some good speakers and trying to get some good people and trying to educate people better. As you must remember, I went to auction school in 1950, and the National Association of Auctioneers was not put together until 1948. And the man I mentioned a minute ago, Joe Guzzi, who was an awful nice guy, he lived with a man in New Jersey who was one of the first presidents. A guy by the name of B.G. Coates was one of the first presidents of the National Association of Auctioneers. And B.G. Coates stopped at my house and wanted me to go along, and I have some books and some things back then. I wanted me to go along with the auction profession, kind of learn more. But the National Association and the Ohio Association and those people have put together fine people. And I think that that's all established because there were no laws, there were no rules to auctioneers back in 1950 and 1948. It was the biggest town drunk. In fact, the matter I tell you very honestly, that there was an awful good auctioneer in our community, and he was drunk all the time and chased women, did a lot of things he shouldn't have done. And I think that I went back to town Sycamore when I came out for auction school in December, and we had 13 auctions that year. The first year I came home, and I had 11 of them. He just about went out of business, doing all the things that he shouldn't do and doing all the things that don't put together a good program in your life and everything else. And I remember he came out of Skaney Klingman's beer joint one day, and someone said, "Hey, Mike, don't you have a sale out there?" And it was about 2 o'clock, and they said, "I thought it started at 1." He said, "By God, they won't start till I get there." And that was the attitude that there was years and years ago. That attitude is not there now. you get off your duff tomorrow morning and go to work, because if you don't go find that auction, somebody else will find it.
Right.
And they'll be able to handle it too.
They will. It's a very professional group of people that manage the auctions today.
Absolutely.
And it is a group of people. I know you mentioned you have family, friends,
Yep.
The relatives. It doesn't happen because Jerry Stichter or Ned Gregg
That's right.
calls up on the auction block.
That's right.
Yeah. For young people getting started, how do you develop this group of people that makes it work?
I think it's no different in any business that you are today. A young man wanting to start farming, it's going to be awful difficult. A young man today who wants to get in the auction business is going to be an awful difficult way. I think that you sometimes are blessed. You'll find a young man that's really, really blessed. And I have a grandson, and he's blessed. He's just absolutely fantastic. And I've helped people who said to me, Ned, will you help me get an auctioneer's license? And you could pretty much tell when you helped them it was never going to happen. And you helped them anyhow, and when you helped them anyhow, that was a good thing that you did, you know. I used to have a friend that was in the auction business with me, and he used to say, oh, we got too many auctioneers in the business now, don't pay attention to them. And I used to laugh, and I'd say, oh gosh, we got to help somebody, James, help make them go along. And we did, and I did, and I have no regrets. But I would say there's an awful lot of young people who come along and think they want to do this, and they're not willing to put the hard work in, not willing to put the effort in. They're not blessed. They don't have that natural ability. I've been lucky. I had a grandson. He's lucky. He just walks up to the auction stand, and when he goes, you just back up and say, hey, forget you got him, because he's there. And I think that happens, Jerry. I don't think it is for everybody.